Hello, everyone. Welcome to the News Browse News broadcast. According to a report by the Canadian Press, Canada's forest ministers have agreed that the traditional methods of the timber industry, specifically logging and paying stumpage fees, are no longer sustainable. Meeting at the Canadian Council of Forest Ministers in Langford, BC, officials acknowledged that the sector is facing a perfect storm of challenges, driven by unjust U.S. tariffs and a global decline in demand for traditional products like newsprint. A recently released task force report identified key homegrown barriers, such as excessive regulations, underinvestment in manufacturing, low innovation, and weak domestic demand for wood. In response, Corey Hogan, Parliamentary Secretary for the Minister of Natural Resources, announced that the federal government will unveil an action plan within days to establish a national strategy for a vibrant forest sector. BC Forest Minister Ravi Parmar emphasized that Canada can no longer compete internationally on commodity lumber and pulp with low-cost jurisdictions like Indonesia and Brazil. He expressed BC's eagerness to collaborate with Ottawa, access federal funding, and defend the interests of forestry workers as the province transitions the sector toward high-value, innovative wood products. According to CTV News, hundreds of striking and locked-out public sector workers marched through the streets of Toronto this week to show solidarity with approximately 4,000 workers across Ontario. Organized by the Ontario Public Service Employees Union, OPSEU, the rally called for a settlement to recover wages lost under Bill 124, a controversial wage cap law that was previously ruled unconstitutional. In addition to wage recovery, the demonstrators demanded accountability and transparency regarding a surge past $1 billion in taxpayer funds paid to private companies to administer public services. An OPSEU report revealed that funding for private administrators like Acerta and WCG has risen exponentially over the past several years. Union leaders criticized this as a misuse of public funds and questioned the value of outsourcing these services. In response, Ontario's Ministry of Labour stated that funding has scaled up because the roles and services of these private companies have expanded, particularly in employment and autism services. Government representatives emphasized that the private providers were selected through competitive processes and are subject to strict performance-based metrics. According to CTV News, the British Columbia Financial Services Authority, BCFSA, has issued a consumer alert regarding Matthew Kuras, an accused real estate licensee who allegedly ran an unauthorized short-term rental fraud in Vancouver. The BCFSA warns property owners and tenants against making any payments to Kuras or his unlicensed company, Metro Van Realty. Kuras's real estate license was surrendered, and he was terminated by his employer, TRG, the residential group, on May 22nd, after it was discovered he was managing properties under his unlicensed entity. He is accused of leasing at least 5 properties in Vancouver under false pretenses and subleasing them as short-term rentals, such as on Airbnb, without the owner's consent. Furthermore, Kuras has been in a prolonged legal battle with the BCFSA, refusing to cooperate with their investigation or hand over tax documents. He was fined $27,000 in administrative penalties in November 2025. Although Kuras has challenged the document orders in court, a recent hearing was held to determine if his non-compliance constitutes professional misconduct. According to a report by the Canadian Press, mayors of Canada's major cities are calling on the federal government to treat the fight against homelessness as a vital nation-building project, akin to major energy and infrastructure developments. During a news conference at the annual Federation of Canadian Municipalities conference in Edmonton, the Big City Mayors Caucus urged Ottawa to invest $3.5 billion annually. Mayor Josh Morgan of London, Ontario, and Montreal Mayor Soraya Martinez-Ferrada emphasized that strong, thriving communities are crucial for the country's overall strength. They highlighted that the requested funding matches recommendations from a 2024 Parliamentary Budget Officer report, which aimed to cut chronic homelessness in half. The mayors also requested that prevention and response strategies be integrated into an updated national housing strategy, and called for increased municipal funding to upgrade local infrastructure and combat organized crime. In response, a spokesperson for the federal Housing and Infrastructure Minister, Gregor Robertson, stated that addressing homelessness requires coordinated efforts across all levels of government, pointing to the ongoing progress of existing initiatives like the Reaching Home program. According to a report by the Canadian press, Lululemon Athletica Inc. experienced a challenging first quarter as its high-profile dispute with estranged founder Chip Wilson and other negative media coverage weighed on store traffic and overall performance. As a result, the Vancouver-based athletic apparel retailer has revised its fiscal 2026 revenue forecast downward to between $11 billion and $11.15 billion, representing a potential 1% decline from the prior year. During the quarter, Lululemon clashed publicly with Wilson, who attempted to appoint 3 nominees to the board, although a settlement was reached last week, appointing 2 of his nominees in exchange for Wilson halting his public disparagement. The negative commentary had already taken its toll. Additionally, the company faced scrutiny regarding a Texas Attorney General probe into potential forever chemicals in its clothing, alongside some underperforming product launches. Lululemon reported a Q1 net income of $195 million, down significantly from $314.6 million in the same period last year, while revenue rose 4% to $25 billion. Former Nike executive Heidi O'Neill has been appointed as the next CEO, scheduled to take over on September 8th. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.